Nope. You meant to what? Take dogs out? Ah. Why is my computer going really slow? Ah. Right. Oh, now I got it. So, I'm in. Ah. Right. Oh. Oh, now I got it.
Oh, now I
So,
got
I'm
it.
in. Right.
Now I got it.
All right. This is your host with the most, Logan Pachesny, here with Sports Bro Podcast, an adult comedy podcast where we make funny noises, strong language, make fun of current events in sports and otherwise any other newsworthy thing. And if you don't fucking like that, that's too fucking bad. You can have a fucking good day and see your way out the fucking door. Anyways, with me today, my co-host is Justin from Alma College, the mini me of myself. Yeah, I don't know if the world can handle two of me, but apparently they're trying with fucking Justin. So how's it going, Justin?
It's going good. Come to find out, the world is having a hard time difficulty dealing with two of us, but too fucking bad. Here we are.
Oh, yeah, exactly. If they don't want to deal with it, they can go someplace else because I don't give a fuck. Anyways, as always, we start our day with our weekly review, and then we go into our half-ass sports. So, Justin, how's your week been?
Good. Had our first game.
Nice. How'd you guys do?
We won that game by a final score of 24-6, and it was a very close game in the first half. Defense was the story. It was 7-6 at halftime. Alma led by 1, and in the second half, defense awakened and just put the beating on Bluffton.
So,
Our defense had a total of 5 turnovers against Bluffton. We had 4 interceptions and 1 fumble recovery, and one of those interceptions was a pick 6 by Mr. Jack Kretschmar.
So what you're telling me, Bluffton College, correct?
Yes.
You beat them 42-6, and it was 7-6 at halftime. So it kind of sounded like
24-6.
Oh, 24-6. Either way,
24.
it kind of sounded like Alma showed up, told him, well, you should probably go back to high school because all you're doing is kicking field goals today.
Yep, that's about right.
Other than the first half, which, talking off there, it kind of sounded like the coach walked into the locker room and pretty much chewed out the entire team because they should have been playing better than they were to be up by 1 at half.
Yeah, and I mean, as expected, first game of the year, you got a little bit of butterflies, jitters, but after the first drive or two, those should have been gone. Shouldn't have been for a whole half, and that's when it's like, all right, what the fuck's going on now? You guys are playing like this is some blowout game up in Rochester, so blow smoke out your ass, pull that stick out, and let's play football like we're meant to.
So please tell me at least the coach walked into the locker room, looked at him, and threw a clipboard to the ground.
Oh, he smashed it all over his knee.
Thank you. Honestly, shout out to him because that's exactly what I would have done. What else happened this week other than first game for Alma football?
Well, going back to Alma football a little bit, we played a JV game on Sunday, and we played Adrian College for JV, and that was similar to the first half of the entire varsity game, but it was very good and very competitive. It was 0-0 all the way through. Offense just couldn't solve anybody's defense up until in the fourth quarter when Alma got a passing touchdown with 2 minutes to go, and we ended up winning 6-0, I believe, or in that game. And following the varsity win and JV win, Coach promised us earlier on in the week that he would show us some of his dance moves if we won. And sure as hell, we showed him that we can win. Well, and he had to fulfill his little promise that he made to our guys. And might I say, it was very impressive.
Well then, at some point I will get our Discord into the chat. I'll work on that right now, but if you want to, go ahead and go throw that into Comedy Sports Podcast text there. So if anybody wants to see that video, I've seen it. I laughed my ass off, literally. Never thought that could actually happen. But yeah, go check that out. It's actually pretty funny because he's doing it in a kilt. So, if you want to see something funny, go check that out. Let's see if I can do this. Anyways, what else has been going on in your life other than sports with Alma?
Not too many soccer games going on right now. Weather has not been cooperating very well. A doubleheader of mine tonight got canceled due to weather, so thank you, Mother Nature.
Well, yeah, and we were talking about that. I had a few people that hopefully are in here watching that wanted to be able to make this podcast and listen to it, and I was like, well, I don't know if that's going to happen this week because my co-host has a doubleheader soccer game, so when we go live, it's probably going to be 9 o'clock or later. And then you told me that. I was like, oh, shit. Well, now you made me look like a fucking asshole because I just told him that we weren't going to fucking be on until late, and here we are.
Yeah, Mother Nature decided to play a little rough game with us this weekend to where everything was going on later on at night, and then all of a sudden, whoop, I'm going to throw you a curveball, so now you got to cancel your plans and go do your podcast at normal time, which, I mean, I'm not going to complain because all of our listeners love being on this episode and on these times, but at the same time, it's I like giving back and helping teach the game that we both love.
Well, exactly. Other than that, we were talking off air a little bit. You were asking me for some advice. I told you that sounds like a topic that we could talk about in our weekly review. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. There's been a few people that have matched with me on Tinder a little bit, and well, let's just say that my comedy really isn't worth their time if they don't like explicit language like we're doing on this podcast. I'm your twin, so to speak, and a lot of people that I know are more Catholic and Christian and don't care for that type of language.
Okay. So, what about these lovely individuals that you matched with on Tinder?
Well, there the couple that I have been are athletes, basketball players, soccer players. One's a softball player, but it's
I don't know if you really want to go for that. She's probably known for hitting balls. Let's just put it that way.
yeah, that's where I was like, well, nope, my balls will get knocked out of the park and I'll never see them again.
Exactly. But what about the others? You were telling me about one at Central Michigan University played soccer.
Yeah, my balls will get kicked around so much I probably won't even see them.
They might come back black and blue after she's done with you.
Yeah, that wouldn't look too pretty now, would it?
It depends on how they got black and blue.
That's exactly right.
So, any of them that you're actually, I get Tinder to match you to them. It's algorithm that does the whole work. Any of them that actually interest you?
Nah, not really. It's more of like a see what happens, but
Okay.
not gonna pursue anything.
Right.
That's more of a fun bullshit type of game.
Yeah, I hear you there. You know my past. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, yep. And not gonna go into detail.
So, we obviously are a sports broadcast, and we're honestly talking about ourselves right now. But I've seen from Chicago White Sox veteran pitcher Lance Lynn on IL with knee inflammation. I think the motherfucker should just rub some dirt in it and throw a ball.
Oh, jeez. Come on. Knee inflammation, that just sounds like a bad bruise.
Yeah. But, hey, he's an all-star pitcher. They want to protect their investments, blah, blah, blah. And I think if he's going to get paid tens of millions of dollars, he needs to act like it and play the game.
Yeah. It's none of this, like, you're playing like it's a career and you're playing like it's for a job, not a career when you're doing with this stuff. But I mean, come on, like you can't tough it out a little bit and try to do what's best right now.
I mean, if that's the case, I have knee inflammation right now. The White Sox can sign me to a multi-million-dollar contract so I can sit on the fucking bench. Just saying.
I hear you there.
I'm just saying. If he can just claim he has knee inflammation and he gets to sit on the bench while he's already on a contract with them, man, sign me up because I'll never have to actually work in a day of my life.
If they're gonna go that route, any MLB team should sign me right now, and I can be the starting pitcher for anybody and throw my arm out and have Tommy John surgery. I'll sit on the bench and go through surgery and sit out and go through rehab for tens of millions of dollars a year.
Well, exactly, and I get they get injured. I get they get severely injured. There's actual injuries out there, but don't put in the article, the headlines that it's knee inflammation because I'm just gonna sit there and think to myself, well, why don't you grab a needle and I don't know, take all the fluid out of your knee?
Right. Yep. I mean, that's what we did when we had. What was it that we had when we were playing?
Oh, you talking like fucking... Because that was our knees too, playing soccer and shit. Yeah. No, it's not comfortable at all. I will admit that, but pretty sure we both had to go through it. We both did what we had to do for the team, and he just wants to sit the bench and ride the pine.
Must be fucking nice.
I know. So remember last week we talked about the New York Mets and how they're making headlines?
Well, good news, Mets fans. You're still making headlines.
Yeah. Still not in the good way, neither. Assholes.
Yeah, even though your beloved Javi Baez apologized for the thumbs down, guess what? You're still searching for a new general manager.
Yeah, what a dumbass.
Because the one you had is a dumbass and really was selfish, in my opinion.
The selfish shit. I want to know where my invite was for that party.
Right? Your GM fell asleep at a traffic light because he got too drunk and couldn't drive himself home. And when he got asked by an officer to take a breathalyzer test, he refused. He was then arrested on scene and taken to jail.
So, I get he's the acting general manager, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what he got pulled over for pulled over in for that DUI?
What did he get pulled over in?
A 2018 Toyota.
Wasn't it it was a what?
A 2018 Toyota. He makes multi-million dollars and he's driving a 2018 Toyota back from the stadium.
Why is he not driving a 2022 vehicle? What the hell?
I guess he's a fucking bigger cheapskate than I am.
For being the interim general manager who gets paid billions of dollars, Jesus, sounds like it. Must have a bunch of alimony payments he's got to make.
Well, if he's getting that drunk, it's rather that or he likes his alcohol way too much and he spends his money on his booze.
Time to check into a clinic.
Which, at that point, he obviously lives in the suburbs of Rye of, what is it? Westchester County over in fucking New York? Where the fuck was my invite?
Yeah.
Why am I not getting this invite? Like,
right? Like
I am totally
You're
down for
driving
drinking.
at 4:00 in the morning. You're driving around your own town at 4:15 in the morning, and you're drinking. Like, how many other people in this world want to do the same thing?
I mean, if this ever gets to him, hit me up. I'll give you my number. Not even lying.
Oh, absolutely.
I will find a way out to come out to New York and have a few drinks with you. But you better have a brand new vehicle to pick me up in because I ain't getting in no damn 2018 Toyota.
Oh, Jesus, no.
So,
driving that type of car, making that type of money is almost like you're driving a Prius.
well, like I said, his liquor cabinet better be made of fucking oak, better be custom made, and it better be top shelf sitting on it when I get there.
Yeah, absolutely. I ditto for me on that one because I need that type of invite too if I'm going to be partying that hard.
Well, you know
Which
damn well
is-
where I go, you go.
Definitely. Yep, that's exactly right. Package deal.
Yep. So, I mean, other than that in baseball, I mean, I'm kind of surprised he doesn't even have a driver. Rather, it's driving that piece of shit Toyota or something different. Why didn't he have a driver driving him around? Unless if he was having a roadie, which I don't know if I ever told you what that is, but a roadie is pretty much drinking and driving.
Maybe that was his plan. Maybe he wanted to get out of the acting GM, and he just was like, well, maybe this will be the way to do it instead of trying to shit on this team and buy players that are gonna do this type of shit for our fan base.
Well, okay, I'll give him this. I mean, he is the general manager of New York Mets. He just had players get booed at. He has players acting out towards the fan. If I was in this position, I'd probably drink too.
He gets to you. There's a lot of criticism that comes from the fan base that sometimes you can't help but see, and not really ignore, but take some of it personally. But come on, you got to know how to handle it.
Well, exactly. All right. So, back to New England Patriots. I heard something out of their camp that's fucking hilarious, but at the same time, not as amazing, I guess, to say the least. They released Cam Newton.
Yeah, and listen to this. Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback Mac Jones has been named starter for Week 1,
Oh, God.
making him one of making him the first rookie quarterback since 1993, I believe, to start for the New England Patriots. 20-year gap between rookie quarterback starters.
I don't remember who they play Sunday, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get a warm welcoming from that defense.
Oh, absolutely. They're going after him.
Oh, yeah. Brand new quarterback, brand new season. Rookies. They got to break him in somehow. He might as well break his jaw.
No better way to do it than that.
So expect a few targeting calls that day because that's just tradition. And if I recall, when releasing Cam Newton, which everybody's like, well, he'll get a job. He'll get a job. I have this gut feeling he ain't getting a job this season or ever. He sucks. Period.
Yeah, I mean, where is he going to go right now where he's going to be guaranteed the starter? Not a damn place.
No.
Because everybody's already set their quarterbacks, and everybody's already got their plan. And all the quarterbacks that were drafted in this past year's draft already have a spot on the roster, whether as a starter, backup, or starter of the practice squad.
Well, exactly.
Like, there's no place he can go right now.
So, Bill Belichick was quoted as a lot of factors came into the involvement of his release. COVID-19 was not one of them. That's what he says. I have a feeling it's probably one of them, but they don't want to make headlines of being the first NFL team to get rid of star quarterback due to not having a COVID-19 vaccination.
Right. And saying that behind closed doors is one thing, saying it to the media is another, and you're exactly right. Who wants to be the first team that says that? Nobody. Not a damn team.
I think it shouldn't
Because they
fucking
don't want
matter.
to look like... They're not going to look like... they don't want to hurt the image of their team and the way they run their program.
I mean,
it's all about image. It's all about money. It's all politics.
Yeah, but we're talking about the New England Patriots who already ruined their fucking image by the Deflategate.
Deflategate, the leaving of Tom Brady, who signed with Tampa Bay. It's like that franchise is shot for quite a while.
Let's put it this way. I've seen a lot of shit. I've shit a lot of shit, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of them that's going down the toilet too.
And it's going fast.
Oh, yeah. It's just spiraling quicker each day. Especially putting a rookie quarterback at starting position. Can you imagine what the backups feel like?
Nah, gotta feel like shit. It's like, we've been here for how long, and you're putting this guy in that you just drafted?
Yeah. Alright. So, obviously, we live in Michigan, so we are, to an extent, Lions fans. Me personally, as a diehard Lions fan, they just released their 53-man roster, and did you see the average age on their roster this year?
Oh my God.
Did we, get rid of all of our vets? What's going on in that camp? Come on. Average what? 24, 25? Maybe 26 years of age?
At this point, you and me could be the oldest people that are sitting on that roster.
Yeah.
If we were to get signed.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, they have a few there that have been there for a while, rather with other teams, veterans up there in the age, know what the fuck they're doing. So we hope. But average age between 24 and 26 on the starting roster. Are they trying to blow the season before it starts?
I thought we were already in a rebuild. Is this what? Starting from scratch? Like we got to go back to the drawing board?
Is this like a new league? Is this no longer the NFL? Are they part of something else that they had to get a whole new young group of guys to even start in the league? I mean, I thought I had hope. I guess they better prove me wrong on Sunday for their start against San Francisco. But if I was a betting man, it's probably going to be like a 27-14 San Francisco win.
I'd say that's probably about a safe bet, and I think that's almost giving it a generous amount of points to Detroit.
Yeah. So I could be wrong. They could make me look like an asshole. But if I was a betting man, they're the assholes because they really screwed up their roster by not having enough veterans on it to allow these new young guns out there to fucking learn from and grow with and all that. So I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure Detroit's going to be the clown team of the fucking league again this year.
As they were when they went 0-16, but I don't think. Let's pray they don't go 0-16 this year with the amount of ageless wonders we have on this team.
And I'm a Detroit Lions diehard. Like, you can, anybody can ask Justin. Anybody can ask my wife. My wife is I'd go out on a limb and say she's a diehard Green Bay Packers fan. How we actually haven't killed each other yet, I don't know, but that's besides the point. We've argued over the Detroit Lions and how shit or how good they've been. You can ask her. You're right.
I've been in the room during those conversations.
Oh yeah,
and it's amazing you all haven't put a gun to each other's throats yet.
Yeah. So, how do I put this? Yeah, Justin, you're right. They're not gonna go 0-16. They're not. They're going 0-17.
Yep. First team on record to go 0-16 and 0-17 in the same decade year.
Yep. I would almost put money on it because it's a whole new coaching squad, and you might as well call it a whole new fucking team because of the age. So, yeah. Like I said, they could prove me wrong. They could prove me wrong this Sunday. They just got to win one game to prove me wrong, and I'm a diehard fan. They're going 0-17 this year. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing more I can say on this because you're exactly right. Betting man 0-17, 100%. And if they prove me wrong, I'll start going to the casino more often.
I know, right? Speaking of bad luck, apparently the New Orleans Saints are nothing but a bunch of pussycat dolls and are afraid of a little rain.
Jeez, come on. Toughen up. We played soccer in rain. We played soccer in hail, for God's sakes, in an inch of snow in our district game. I remember that game 100%.
Yeah.
You guys can't play in a little rain?
So, okay. Don't shoot the messenger. I get it. It's a hurricane. It's probably for their safety. But why the fuck would you go to Dallas and ask the Cowboys if you can use their stadium to practice and possibly hold the first few weeks' games? I mean, look how Dallas plays in there. You really want to play like them?
The Dallas will be following the New England Saints for a while, and if that case. As soon as you step into that stadium, well, there's a curse. Better get out.
Yep. So, yeah, it looks like they're possibly going to be at Arlington, Texas, week 1 against Green Bay. My question is how do you get hyped up when you're not in your home stadium?
Can you really? Like, is that even possible?
I don't think it is. I know how I would be. Week 1, you're the home team, away team coming to you. It's an even playing field. There's no you trying to get into the other team's head. The chances are the fans are going to be split down the middle even. There's no advantage with it. Like they're supposed
Just like
to
a
be.
college bowl game.
Exactly.
Just like a college bowl game. There's going to be 50% tickets for one side, 50% for the other, and the stadium's probably going to be split right in half.
Yep. So
I don't see any advantage.
it's going to be extremely interesting to watch that game. I'm probably going to try and tune into it if my sleep schedule allows me. I'll probably be laughing the entire time just because they're at fucking Arlington, Texas. You might as well just call it downtown Detroit with that stadium because there's no way it's going to do anything for any team, including Dallas.
Right.
So, apparently, speaking of, and I totally forgot about this, COVID-19 in the NFL. Jacksonville has reported they have not released any players due to COVID issues. That most of their team is, how do I put it, sheep and got vaccinated.
I think again, it's going to be one of those things that's behind closed doors. Just like New England said, well, we're not going to release any players due to COVID-19, but it's
yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if at some point it actually comes out that, well, I got released because I didn't have my vaccination, or I got released because I got it, COVID, so they got rid of me. I have that feeling that's coming down the road, especially if none of those players get jobs.
Or even I got released because I refused.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, as far as I know, the NFL does not require players, coaches, staff members to get vaccinated. That could have changed. I just haven't heard yet. But chances are, if that were to come, the players' union would probably strike at that point and start going to the table and bargaining for a new contract at that point.
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me either.
So, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be in the news once again. I don't ever remember him leaving it, but apparently he was on the low till recent. He was fighting to get Jake Kumaro back on the team. Well, we're probably going to hear him bitch and complain that the staff up in the offices didn't do their job and get him because Buffalo Bills have signed him to their starting roster.
When is Aaron Rodgers not bitching and complaining?
I'm about to order him a lifetime supply of fucking tissues and adult diapers at this point.
Give it a rest, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that you're probably the face of the NFL right now because the new quarterbacks that were just drafted are still learning their place on the roster, but come on. You're old enough now, you can retire and you've got enough money. Quit bitching and either retire and keep bitching, that way we don't have to deal with you anymore, or quit bitching and play the fucking game and deal the cards that you're dealt.
Well, exactly. Every year he throws a fit when it comes to draft time, when it comes to preseason time. I'm sick of it. I want this big baby off the field and get him his pacifier and bottle and put him to bed.
And I know she's not around, but I'd really like to hear what your wife has to say about Aaron Rodgers, because knowing her, she's either one or the other way on how we're approaching this.
From
Or
over
she's
the
probably-
talks over it, it sounds like not just her, but a lot of Packer fans are getting sick of it themselves.
Yeah, and why would you want to be why would you be a fan of a quarterback who does nothing but complain? Shouldn't you want to support a quarterback that's can work with the guys he's dealt with and build chemistry that way and build a winning team around the guys that they're drafting with? Like, the whole team can't beat Aaron Rodgers.
Well, exactly. At this point, it sounds like a rich baby who just wants his paycheck at the end of the day and doesn't want to do the job to earn it.
Yeah.
So,
anyways, let's move on to a little bit of college football. There's been some big news happening in the expansion. You know what? Let's call it an expansion draft, because that's basically kind of what it is.
Right.
Since Oklahoma and Texas want to leave the Big 12 and join the SEC, there are other teams that are interested in joining the Big 12 conference.
And who would those be?
The Big 12 has narrowed its list of expansion targets to just 4. BYU, Brigham Young University, UCF, University of Central Florida, University of Cincinnati, and Houston. Big 12 expansion could be happening faster than initially anticipated. And if you ask me, joining the Big 12 could really be a step forward for UCF and Cincinnati if they really believe that they have a chance to win a national championship.
Well, here's the issue with that. I've never heard of those two.
And that's the reason why the selection committee really doesn't give a fuck.
Like, the Big 12 is like the Big 10. It's rather you show up, do the job, get it done, and fight for your position to possibly be in the playoffs, or you get the fuck out. It's feast or famine for those two divisions, just like SEC. I would love to know how many people in this country even knows who the fuck those two colleges are, because, like I said, never fucking heard of them. Probably never will fucking hear about them again past this podcast, past the fucking news about them even having a chance to getting into the Big 12. Honestly, they ain't even worth the media.
100% agree. Has-beens and never will-bees.
Exactly. I mean, what even division are they even in? I even have to look it up.
What are they in the FCS and not the FBS like everybody else in the freaking country? Shit, that's so bad. I don't even know what FCS stands for.
They're in the American Athletic Conference.
What the fuck kind of conference is that? I've never even heard of that conference.
They have SMU, Cincinnati, Memphis, Tula, Houston, Eastern Carolina, Tulsa, Tampa, Navy, and South Florida in there.
9% of those schools I've never even heard of.
Yeah. Navy, Temple, Houston, Memphis, Cincinnati, and SMU. I've all heard of. The rest, never heard of them.
And if that's the case, that conference will go to shit if these teams leave. Because, again, we've never heard of these teams. And if they leave, you're really never going to hear of anybody.
Well, yeah. And I honestly, if I was a betting man, they're probably not going to be leaving because the other colleges mentioned I've actually heard of and probably have a better chance of making that conference and actually doing something in that conference over those two teams.
Yeah. And that's just dumb. I'm done. I can't talk about it anymore, otherwise I'll get pissed.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't we go to one of your favorite sports, hockey? Looks like D-man Connor Murphy was signed to a 4-year extension with the Chicago Blackhawks.
I think it's a good move by Chicago, honestly. With their recent signing of goaltender Miraculous, doesn't really need an introduction of Marc-Andre Fleury. You put him in front of Fleury, Fleury's gonna trust him 100%, and when he's on the ice, Fleury's not gonna see many shots because Connor's gonna block the hell out of it.
Well, exactly, and he got signed to a 4-year extension that carries an annual average value of $4.4 million. Now, some people are like, wow, that's a lot. Murphy is 28 years of age, has become the defensive factor, number one defensive guy on the Blackhawks team. And he is responsible and physical presence on the blue line when he is out on the ice. So like you said, that goaltender, he's got a trusting defensive right there, and he has no worries that the defender is going to do his job because he knows what he has to do. He's going to go out there, do his job, and do it to the best of his ability, if not better.
Yeah, and with the Blackhawks being in a really rebuilding stage, he's going to be the veteran guy that people are going to turn to. I mean, he may be
28 years
of age.
Yep.
Most of those guys that are coming up to the draft are still in their early 20s, late teens even, for some of them. And they're going to learn from the best guy on the ice. And right now, that's Connor Murphy.
Well, exactly. 28 years of age, man. He is exactly a year younger than me, and he's making $4.4 million annually. What the fuck did I do wrong with my life?
We didn't grow up in Canada.
Or Russia, or England.
Or Sweden.
Yep, you hit that on the head. Only sport in this country that we are good at is NBA and NFL, if you want to have a good, beefy athlete for that. Otherwise, it's foreign countries. Which is nothing wrong with that.
The Red Wings have signed defenseman Philip Hronik to a 3-year contract.
Nice.
Another smart decision by Mr. Stevie Y himself in the front office.
Yep. Former
He's
Red
making
Wings.
more and more decisions that everything he's doing, brings me joy. Every decision he's making just makes me feel like we're moving in the right direction, and I don't disagree with anything he's done. All the moves he's making, I believe, are 100% right.
Exactly.
I may be a diehard Red Wings fan, but that's coming from a hockey analyst that knows the game of hockey and follows everybody around and closely looks at the deals and what's going on. Like I truly believe that Steve Yzerman is doing the right things in Detroit to get his franchise back to a top tier Stanley Cup quality team.
Well, exactly. I mean, look at his years as a player in Detroit. If they weren't in the Stanley Cup playoffs, they were pretty darn close, and if they were in the playoffs, chances are they were in the championship round. So for him to walk into Detroit and start making these big money moves to bring that back to Detroit shows how much he is dedicated to this team, to the city, and everything else.
Absolutely, 100%.
So
He is determined to put Detroit back on the map to where he was when he first got drafted. When they first drafted him as in the first round, people were like, "Who's this guy?" But also people were like, "Oh, we got Stevie Y. He's great." Well, guess what? He's doing the exact same thing to the future draft picks of Detroit. Some people have heard of these draft picks, others have not. But yet, they don't not know him for very long. They make a statement right out of the gate no matter where they get put, whether it's Toledo, whether it's Grand Rapids, or whether they start off camp in Traverse City with the Detroit Red Wings. Their name is known months after they're drafted.
well, exactly, and they know that in order to get a spot on that starting roster, they have to make that impact, especially with Stevie Y there. If you don't make an impact, you ain't making a starting roster with Detroit at this point.
And you're not even staying on the team. If he thinks you're good and you prove him wrong, you're gone.
Well, exactly. He's how do I put this? Show up and do your job and do it well, or I'll show you the door type of guy.
Yeah, straight shooter, knows what he wants and what he's looking for, and if you can't provide, then your ass will get shipped out the door real quick.
Did you feed the dogs today?
Yes.
Well, you didn't give them water.
Sorry, but I did feed him. Anyways. Looks like Minnesota Wild signed defensive man Jordan Ben to 1 year, $900,000 contract on Friday, adding another veteran option after the offseason of change on the blue line.
Again, great move by Minnesota, but I think they could have done a little bit better than a 1 year contract, because that tells me it's a trial contract for the year. Even though it's $900K, it's what can you do for this year for us to keep you? And I think that's kind of the wrong mentality when you're speaking about Jordy Ben. The Ben family has been an impact on hockey for a long time between Jordy and Jordan, and that type of statement to me it almost would be an insult. Like, why would I, like, you're only signing me for 1 year? What value have I brought to this team? And as a veteran of the game of hockey, that I'm not worth a little bit more in a couple more years to your organization.
Right. Now, granted, we don't know the whole stipulations to the contract. I'm sure if I really dug, made a few phone calls, I could probably get answers. Well, let's look at it this standpoint. Ben is 34 years of age. Last season had 1 goal, 9 assists, and a +7 rating over 39 games with the Vancouver Canucks and the Winnipeg Jets last season. He played in 3 playoff games for the Jets. Now, with that being said, he's had 24 goals, 103 assists, 630 hits, and 908 block shots in 556 career NHL games, mostly with the Dallas Stars. The Wild will be his 5th NHL team. So, granted that he has the stats, the mentality, the energy, he is getting up to the age of 34 years of age, so he's a veteran. Maybe he's thinking about retirement. But to go through 5 teams, that's kind of concerning.
Yeah, and I mean, with anybody, you want to find a place to call home. And the problem is when you play the sport of hockey, it's almost like football. Well, it's where does your talent fit the best? And to the higher GMs and head coaches of the programs, it's that's really what it's about. It's like, okay, we see your talent. Will it work with our system? And if not, then they're in the trading market. And I feel bad for Jordy that he hasn't found a permanent home like some of the other veterans in this league have. But I mean, who knows? If he wants to keep playing, maybe his talent is best fit in Minnesota. Maybe this is his chance to finally have that long-term home and retire as a Wild.
Well, exactly, and it like I said, it could just be the fact that he's played enough hockey in his career that he's winding down. Like we just talked the other day about, shoot, I can't even think of his name now. The goalie that just hung up his skates.
Now it's killing me. I can't remember either.
Yeah, but you know who I'm talking about. He that player hung up his skates due to medical issues. Maybe he's
Henrik Lundqvist.
Yes, Henrik Lundqvist hung up his skates for heart problems and another heart procedure, so he's calling it quits. Jordy Ben might be thinking the same thing. He might be, well, I've done what I could. I'm going to give it one more year, see how I feel at the end of the year. If I feel good, maybe I'll re-sign with Minnesota. If I don't feel good, I'm going to hang up my skates and call it a day, call it a life, and enjoy family.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't do a whole lot of investigation on him, but I think he has one or two kids, maybe a couple. I'm not really sure, but I know he's got a wife at home, and he all hockey players miss their family and want to spend a lot of family time as they can because they're away from their families almost 6 to 7 months out of the year.
Well, yeah, it's almost like the sport of baseball. You don't get a day off unless if you're traveling.
And even then, it's limited access to talking with your family because you're either on a plane or at a team meal or
Yep.
team practice at an open skate, and it's more of like a hi honey, I made it back to the hotel, or hi, I'm at practice and I'll catch you when I get back before I fall asleep tonight. I love you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some of these sports are definitely hard on families, hard on the player itself. So that could be it right there. He's ready to hang it up if after this year he feels he can't proceed on with his career. But with his stats, his stature, his belief, his heart into the sport, that will be another great player leaving the sport.
Yeah, and he's another one of those big names that a lot of people in this hockey world will know, and he is going to be very missed once he decides to hang up the skates. It's really getting to that point where a lot of these veteran players that you and I have known to watch, grow up, love seeing, and they're all calling it quits. And it's sad to see because the game of hockey has really changed over the last 10, 20 years for that matter.
Well, yeah.
And it's a different type of game, and a lot of these veterans, whether it's right or not, they got to adjust to the new way that the game is played. It's not the way it was back in the 90s. It's new style of play, and sometimes it's hard to adjust when it's the only thing you've known.
Well, yeah, and stepping into a new ring per se from what you're used to year when you first started off in a career like this is very hard to adjust. But it's the time of the year that the rookies are going to have to step up. They're going to have to learn the sport the way it is because it's going to be hard for some of these veterans to be able to teach them when they're actually learning themselves the way hockey 20 years, 10 years, 5 years ago has changed.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, I hope Jordy does continue playing. I hope there isn't any reason that he doesn't continue to play, but with his career and everything else, I wouldn't blame him for wanting to retire. Yeah, he's 34 years old. He's been in 556 career NHL games. That is phenomenal. He's a defensive man, so what does that mean? Well, he takes a big brunt of every hit, blow you can think of out on that rink. Anywhere from a punch from a player, a stick from a player, to the puck hitting you in the side because you blocked it. 908 blocked shots. That's 908 times you're getting hit with a piece of rubber being shot at you like it came out of a gun. That takes a toll on your body.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, absolutely. And when you equivalent, if you take the amount of games that he played and divide that up, hockey games, I believe full hockey season is 82 games a year.
Yep.
If you consider him playing every single game for up until you reach that 550, 80 game mark?
556.
556. That is a total of 7 point decimal number years of playing consistently.
Yeah.
And that's taking 800 shots to whatever body part you're using to block a shot with.
On top of dealing out 670 hits to other players.
Yeah. I mean, there 7 full years in this league nonstop playing consistently on top of your AHL career that you've had, and then on top of whatever club or junior league that he came out of. That's a hockey career of at least 20 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 556 career starts with the NHL. That's just the NHL. That doesn't include... I will go on the limb and say he probably went to school. So he probably played in school. He
probably played 3 to 4 years of college hockey.
Yup.
Got drafted, went to KHL, AHL, WHL, whatever league wanted to sign him before that the NHL wanted to get him some more experience and build him up to the NHL. We're talking an unknown amount of leagues and teams that he's been a part of where he's just been doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, so he may be ready, like I said, to hang his skates up and call it a day, because that's a lot of hockey in a short amount of time. I mean, he's 34 years old. That's 5 years? No. Yeah, 5 years older than me. And his body probably feels like he's in his 60s.
Taking that amount of shots and being as productive as he is, I could definitely understand if he says, I want to try it for one more year and see how I feel. Otherwise, I'll hang it up because I don't know how much more my body can take.
Well, exactly, and that's just it. And looking at the amount of the contract that is valued at, that tells me that he's going over to Minnesota. They don't know how much playing time he's going to get. They don't know if he's going to turn into injury prone due to his age and everything he's gone through. So they're going to bring him over, see how he does, see how he feels at the end of the year for the season, and then go from there. And I would probably agree with that. I mean, yeah, he's probably worth more than $900,000. I mean, shit. His stats say he's worth more than $900,000, but at the same time, the club has to protect their assets and what they're doing with their money, because they can't just be throwing money at somebody that, yeah, he may be great, but he's towards the end of his career too.
Yeah. And when you got young guys coming up in the organization, again, it's just like the Blackhawks situation. Jordy is going to be one of those guys that the veterans can learn from in the year that he's there, and if he decides to hang it up, he very well could retire in Minnesota and be around to help teach the young kids as a volunteer assistant coach or practice coach, or he may get hired in the front office as a scout. There's an unlimited amount of options for hockey players when they retire. So there's also no doubt in my mind that he could be one of those guys that plays for one more year, see how he feels, and then be like, yeah, I'm done playing, but I'd like to come back in a different role.
Well, exactly. So, with that being said, over to probably one of my sports that I've really got deep into. You've been around it with me for what, 2 years now out of the 4, 5, 6 years I've been around it?
Yeah.
And that's
All right.
motorsports. So, now, Kurt Busch, he's the NASCAR #1 Monster Energy driver for, I want to say, Joe Gibbs Racing. I think I could be wrong. His contract comes up after this year. Now, he goes to a team where the team owner has been quoted saying, "I don't pay losers." The team is called 2311. And there's a reason behind those numbers. One, Danny Hamlin, who is the Toyota driver of the number 11 Toyota, is part owner of that team. 23, if I were to ask you, Justin, who do you think the 23 represents? It's an iconic person in sports.
Jordan?
Yes. Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan was quoted, "I don't pay losers," at the beginning of this current season we are in. The current driver, they are starting in 2022, bringing on a second car. This season they are with one car with Bubba Wallace in the number 23 car. Now, granted, he's had controversy around him dealing with everything else that's happening in this country. He is not a consistent driver. So I think when Jordan was quoted of, "I don't pay losers," that was telling Bubba Wallace, "Hey, you better produce or I will find somebody else." And this season he has not really produced, so he has reached out to Kurt Busch, who is currently in the playoff runnings. He is running second in playoff points, and said, "Hey, I understand your contract is up this season. We'd like to bring you over to 2311 team and probably make him the star of the team because of his talent and everything else. He is always at least top 10 finish almost every race."
Yeah. Kurt Busch is one of those names in racing that, yeah, you match his statistics with his driving, and it's always, like you said, it's usually a top 10 finish. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, it's like, no matter where he goes, people are going to follow, and you're going to have fans.
Well, exactly. And I'm actually friends with one of his semi-drivers that hauls his car from track to track. And I actually reached out to him and was like, "Hey, what does that mean for you guys?" Because I know he's followed Kurt Busch pretty much wherever he went. He supports Kurt Busch. He's pretty much would probably do anything for the team when asked. And his comment back to me was literally no comments. And I was like, "Hey, I was just wondering." And he's like, "No, seriously, I don't even know what's going to happen. I can't even make a comment on that. But you'll know when I know because I'll make a comment or I'll make a post on Facebook." So I am still waiting for that because those guys that haul those cars are just as much family to the driver as the pit crew, because they're at the track earlier than the pit crew, setting up the pit, so when the pit crew gets there, it's ready to go. They do a lot of behind the scenes work, I found out just by talking with this guy, which I'm not going to release his name because I don't want anybody just flocking to him and be like, hey, what's going on? So, but yeah, it's going to be different seeing the Monster Energy sponsor, one, being on a Toyota, not a Chevrolet anymore, and two, seeing Kurt Busch's name on a Toyota and not a Chevrolet anymore.
Right. And going back to the drivers, I mean, they spend 99, I would almost say 99% of their career driving for whoever they're driving for
Yep.
in their truck. They live, eat, breathe, and sleep inside of that truck, and they drive ungodly amount of hours in a row without sleeping to get their car to the next track.
Well, yeah, and then meanwhile you have like the drivers like Kurt Busch, who during the week in between races is able to fly home, see his family, sleep in his bed, and then fly to the next race. So
it really is a thankless job that people don't understand how difficult it is and how hard it must be to be away from your family. And I mean, I know they have racing all summer long, but you want to spend some type of holidays with them, and you can't as a semi driver in that sport.
Well, exactly. And speaking of major accomplishments, we're gonna hit my favorite motorsports of all time. You know what that is?
I'm gonna take a guess and say NHRA.
You got it. Steve Torrence hits the news yet again. He is one of my favorite drivers. He is a 3-time NHRA champion, back-to-back 3-time NHRA champion. This past weekend at Brandon, Minnesota International Raceway became one of the few to do what is called the NHRA Track Series Sweep. And what that means is he's gone to every track in his career and has at least won once at every track that the NHRA goes to. And he finished the sweep this past Sunday.
And that is really, really impressive.
Yes. To be exact, let's see here. He beat Clay Millican in the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals with a 3.712 second quarter-mile run at 323.74 miles an hour. That's quick, and that's hauling some severe ass down the track. And to do the complete sweep against one of the legends of the sports, Clay Millican, in the Top Fuel Dragster class, is amazing.
You don't hear anything like that almost ever.
Yeah. He's quoted from that day, "I did everything possible to screw up all the way until the finals. When I finally got my head out of my," obviously the article says but I obviously know he's going to say ass, Torrence said, "That was one heck of a race against Clay, and those guys are coming on strong right now." So, just like NASCAR, NHRA has a playoff series where they get thrown into a bracket and they have to win so many races to advance. With Steve Torrence being the 3-time champion, everybody's gunning for him, including Clay Millican. So, for him to say they're coming on strong right now tells me Clay Millican is probably in the hunt to put Torrance for a run for his money with him being the 3-time champion. I don't think Torrenson is going to feel the pressure right away, but Clay Millican is probably one of the best top fuel NHRA drivers out there, so he definitely will start feeling it sooner than later if Clay is coming on hard at the end of the season.
Yep, 100%. And all I gotta say is to those that want to challenge him, good luck, and be ready for a fight, because you know he's gonna be bringing it.
Well, yeah, the Texas 6-shooter Torrenson will probably bring more than a fight. It's going to be an all-out brawl to try and take that title away from him. Him and his family pride that title like it's gold. Literally, they put sweat, tears, and blood into that team, and they do it year in and year out, and it's phenomenal on what accomplishments any team in that sport can do, let alone completing the NHRA track sweep.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let me check our schedule. Looks like we are starting to run a little out of time today. Anything you want to add? Any kind of topics? I know you said there was a few questions you wanted to ask.
Yeah, I had a guy come up to me today at work and asked me this type of question. I figured it's something to bring up on the show.
Okay.
What's something you can say in bed and at a hockey game?
Stay in bed and at a hockey game. Hit 'em harder?
You got a wide open net. Shoot already.
Yeah. I mean, if it's that wide open and you're missing the net,
You got a problem.
yeah, in both, literally.
Go 5-hole.
I almost said that one too, and I was about to until shit. Those are the only two I know of right offhand.
What question you got? Name one off. I know you got. I'm sure you got a couple on your list. No, we'll just have the 2 for today.
Okay. What can you say at the dinner table that you would say in bed?
I love tacos.
Let's see here. How about that was delicious. Can I have seconds?
Nice. Let's see. Your seconds one almost it basically took my second thought away. I just had a second version of it. That was a good one.
How about
Got any more?
Man, that smells good. What'd you put in it? Other than those two,
I got nothing on that one after my first one.
all right. Well, I believe this was a hell of a ride today. Thank you everyone for tuning in, listening in. Don't be afraid to want to be part of the show. We are always willing to have guests on. Just let us know. But other than that, just remember, have a break, have a sport,
Take care, everybody.
and have a wonderful evening.